Oftentimes, we look at solutions that are 180 degrees away from where we're at, that require too much effort and energy and expertise that we just don't have. And we think, well, there's no other solution. It's either all or nothing. But in fact, the success that you want is sometimes 1 degree different than what you're doing now. So we change who we deliver it for, how we deliver it, how fast we can deliver it for. We're just changing one of the variables right now. So before you go and run off and try to find a new client base, just look at what you do and see if you can make one little tweak.
This episode is brought to you by the Business Bootcamp. If you're looking to level up your business, check out the link below. Or drop us a comment if you've enjoyed this video so we can keep making more content just like this.
All right, where we left off, I was like peppered with questions in the hallway. And so I just want to make sure, as we're trying to sort out the avatar of the person, that you have clarity on who it is that you're going to sell to. Maybe I'm selling to a market that doesn't want what I have or value what I have. Have you found your market yet?
All right, yeah. So I'll use the guys or the people I was talking about earlier with the like tools and manufacturing types companies.
Okay, you want to work with them?
Yeah, let's
stay with them.
Let's just go with that for now for today.
Okay, what kind of revenue are they doing a year?
They are at least in the 10 to 15 million.
What's that?
At least in the 10 to 15, 20 million.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because, tool, dies, all that kind of logistics,
Yeah.
they're at least doing 15 to 20 million.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yep.
Okay. And you do video, right?
Yep.
Here's usually the problem, like, why do they need video?
Yeah.
Not all of them need video and they can't see it.
So the companies that I've, when I was been doing my research, a lot of them actually are getting into the YouTube and Instagram game. They're making content, they're doing little how-tos, DIY, showing you how to use their stuff.
The smart ones are.
Yeah, and so like Milwaukee or Ryobi or all these bigger name places, DeWalt, like they have some pretty decent channels actually.
Yeah, but those are huge companies.
Yeah, those are.
They're owned by another company called Home Depot, which I think is a multi-billion-dollar business, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and they're doing influencer marketing, right?
Yep.
So you guys understand how influencer marketing works. They pay somebody, you talk about it, and they're happy to spend that money. And in those spaces, the quality of video doesn't even matter. It's actually besides the point. They want the eyeballs. They want a person who's going to speak about their product in some kind of semi-genuine way, right? Okay, what else?
If I kind of shift the targets away from like Milwaukee, these bigger, huge ones, the companies that maybe they don't have the same brand recognition that a Milwaukee tool company has, they're still competing with those, and they are oftentimes very much about made in the USA, stuff that's very Midwestern, or it's like got more conservative
Made in America.
values.
I get it.
What's that?
Made in America. It's a good
Yeah,
thing.
made in America. Yeah, more conservative values. It's more about mom and pop, more about, we're servicing blue collar workers and
local economies, all that stuff.
yeah, exactly.
But why did they need video?
Right. And so again, I think the ones that are starting to make video, I think it's because they want more people to know about their products.
Yes. Okay, so if we were to brainstorm and we're like entering into like a strategy space, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to look at it from the point of view of the manufacturer of these tools and equipment manufacturers, right? They want to grow their market. They want more customers. And we're going to list like 20 ideas. And then we're going to measure it against impact and effort. Video will be one of them. It may not be the top one. And that's usually where your problem is. They have a certain dollar amount to spend. Where would they spend the money? And if you're not in that top category, they're not going to spend it on you. That's the problem. They might call up Tim like, yo, I heard you do some, with furniture. Can you do this with our tools? He's like, of course I can. Let me look at your business. So this is the problem. We need to connect what we do to a result that they want. Now, I know of a company called Peak Design. They make bags and accessories for people who shoot video. Peak does something very unusual. When they release a product, they run a Kickstarter campaign. Very unusual. And Peak is not a new company. They've been in this game maybe for 10 years now, maybe longer. And they run a Kickstarter campaign, something that's reserved for new companies and startups. Why do they do that? So I thought about that. Dan said, Dan, right? Dan's like, maybe they're just testing if the market wants it. But everything I've seen them do, I think is already manufactured and ready to go. They're using it as a marketing channel that they pay nothing for. Think about it. They're tapping into the Kickstarter community, right? They're giving them a discount to buy early. They're guaranteeing a fairly successful launch based on that. And so I'm thinking, if I was a videographer, maybe I need to study that and bring that strategy to other manufacturers. They're one of the few that does that. So what you're looking for is connecting a result that the client wants to something that you could possibly do. And you keep exploring that. So something that's really interesting and that I learned from my business mentor here is that oftentimes we look at solutions that are 180 degrees away from where we're at, that require too much effort and energy and expertise that we just don't have. And we think, well, there's no other solution. It's either all or nothing. But in fact, the success that you want is sometimes 1 degree different than what you're doing now. So we change who we deliver it for, how we deliver it, how fast we can deliver it for. We're just changing one of the variables right now. So before you go and run off and try to find a new client base, just look at what you do and see if you can make one little tweak. And one example we already talked about today, but a different example I'll share with you is, for a really long time we make commercials and music videos. We're in the high-end production, visual effects, and design space. We service mostly advertising agencies and bands, right? And so as we saw the market kind of waning, and it's getting tougher and tougher to make money, fewer opportunities, especially from where we started to like where we were, it didn't look good. And I could see the writing was on the wall. This plane is going to go down. It's not heading in that direction, it's heading in this direction. So what do we do? And my business coach said, don't you just make really compelling images for people? Who else might need this? Who else might want this? And the first answer is like, well, we'll do industrial videos. And that's the wrong answer, which is take what you're doing that's super lucrative and just do it for clients who pay even less, who might even value it less. So we tried that for a while. That was not the answer. The answer was there are many businesses in different verticals that need the sophisticated design language that you have. And so it turned out, in the commercial real estate space, that's what they wanted. And that's how we flipped a $100,000 job into a multi-million-dollar opportunity. So we just took the same skill set. Now we had to learn a few new skills, and then that's how we got our foot into doing brand strategy and serving as the agency. So we kind of cut out the agency and we took their money. And so it's not that different. And what got us the opportunity was the ability to leverage a really great portfolio with really big name brands and to get that work. Now here's the thing. I eventually got to build a relationship with those clients, and they told me why they hired us. It wasn't because we worked with Audi or Xbox or any of those companies. It wasn't that. It's because we worked on a self-storage facility that's low rent, but looked good. It was called Trojan Storage. And they told us, if you can make self-storage facilities look good, you can make our A-class buildings amazing. This company was worth $13 billion. The kinds of buildings they build are the kinds of buildings that Netflix moves into. And they hire world-class architects, usually Gensler, to design them. These are multi-$100 million projects, maybe billion-dollar projects they build. So they look at self-storage and like, you can make that sexy, you can do anything. And that's all they needed to see. It was the closest thing to what they were doing, and we beat out every real estate marketing company that went for it. And we're the most expensive. So that's how you can leverage, right? So it's not like we've got to do something brand new, just we've got to do it for a different client, a different deliverable. Something is a little bit different, and that's all it needs, right? So Jason, you got to sit there and really think. And if you were just divorce yourself from the thing that you've done in the past and just look at a client or a customer who's trying to solve a problem, let yourself live in that space for a while, and eventually you'll figure out the answer. So helping them run a Kickstarter campaign, because if you have Kickstarter expertise, that might be an innovative way to market. Because you want to be on that marketing side, right? Because you're not on the delivery side, otherwise you wind up being other. And if you live in other, remember we're trying to reduce our expenses in other, don't be an other, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to like have you guys poke holes into my avatar.
Yeah.
Because it's completely new and I'm trying like to figure out like what it is. So right now, my avatar is, she's a female founder of a fintech company and she just got seed funding and she's transitioning to Series A. She's about 38. She's been in the financial services department, and that's how she started her fintech. What else do you need to know?
What are you going to do for her?
So the problem she has is that she needs to achieve product market fit in order to get to Series A, because that's what investors want to see before they could fund you. That's her problem.
Yeah, but what are you going to do?
So what I'm gonna do is like help articulate the value proposition, help her communicate better so customers understand the value the product provides to them, and help her develop like a good story so that when she's pitching to investors, it's capturing their attention.
Okay, so I'm not trying to say it is, but it's kind of like what Sam Horn helps her female entrepreneurs do, right?
Yeah.
To be able to come up with a clever phrase or how to package it to nail the pitch.
Yeah.
So you're like a pitch doctor,
No,
no?
I wouldn't. I don't like doctor, but
Well,
I help.
You don't have to use those words.
It's on both sides, communicating to the investors and communicating with customers.
But you help people articulate their
Different.
differentiator.
Yeah.
Value prop.
Value, yeah.
It's words.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Female entrepreneur working in financial technology
Yeah.
who's looking to raise money, yeah?
Yeah.
And they need to be able to nail their pitch
They need
to the customers and to the investors,
Yeah, basically.
right? Okay. Poke holes, guys. Poke holes.
Yeah, the customers and investors are totally two different beasts.
Yes.
So those are two different audiences, two
Yep.
different businesses, two different models. I guess that's the biggest
Okay.
hole for me.
That's good. I'll agree with that. One is the value to the customer, and one is how am I going to make my money back? Or what, no, there's not a cause. It's financial technology, right? It's not like you're solving hunger or something, right? It's a little bit different. Okay. What else? Thanks, Carol.
If you want to help companies to focus on the product market fit, usually it's better to help them scale on a Series A, because when they're on a Series seed, it's very hard to make them believe that your positioning will help them. For the Series seed companies, usually the paying customers, and that's the main traction for the investors. And that's why positioning and branding exercise doesn't really make sense that much. I've been in this
Okay.
a lot, I mean, at least.
Right, you're
from
in
my
that
experience.
space. Kezi, did it make sense what he was saying?
Not really.
Okay. I think he's saying, and I don't know this space either, so there's different rounds of funding, and in order to get to like the third round, they have to have done a lot of things. And you were saying you got to get to them relatively early, because by the time they reach Series C, they already have that figured out. It's going to be very hard to convince them. Is that
Yeah.
right? Did I hear you right or no?
No.
Okay.
So what we experience with the Series seed startups is that their positioning is not that important for them yet, because they have their own perspective and they're trying to find those market fit within their own beliefs. And then they're not yet that mature to understand that they need some consultants.
So where should she be?
On the Series A,
Series A.
that's where the company starts to spend, because they understand founder doesn't have enough capacity and they're trying to hire everyone else. And
Okay.
that's my guess would be.
All right. If Kezi wanted to learn more about people in the startup community, what organizations could she join? Where could she go to be around more of these people? Because I think the minute you're around the people that you want to serve, you hear things, you feel things, and you can write to them immediately, right? I bet you if all of you had an opportunity to sit down with 5 or 6 of your ideal dream clients and you ask them a bunch of questions, only on an information gathering hunt, that you would then be able to sharpen up your position and your messaging really quickly. That's what I'm finding out, at least. Will?
If you're interested in being those communities, startup accelerators or mass challenge is a great example. You can be an expert and you can coach these startups with these things, and for me it's turned into actually what I'm trying to work on. And so mass challenge is a good one, builders and backers is a good one.
Okay, slow down. I can't, it's hard for me here. So what's the first one?
It's mass challenge.
Mass challenge? Like
Yeah, it's like a startup
large mass?
competition, and like whoever wins, they get a certain amount of funding. And
Mass challenge, what's the second one?
builders and backers.
Builders and backers.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a third one?
What's it? Capital Factory in Austin. They hire out a lot of experts and stuff like that. And
Capital Factory. Okay, so we can learn a lot more about them. Yeah? Kira, did you want to say something? You can just hold on to it for a second, Will, until we find the next person.
Yeah, the way I would do it is that I would talk to the VCs, and if you have any connection with a VC, some of the biggest VCs got their own marketing experts inside the VC structure to help their all portfolios, and this is how you can get a new business.
How will we find out about these people?
Yeah, that's usually your clients. So once your clients are funded, they always have an access to the groups and communities, and they are the one who can introduce you to the VC too. So your clients, if you have some in the industry.
Yeah. Do you guys know who Nancy Duarte is? Yeah? She's like the queen of presentation design. Of course you would know. And they have, like, last time I found out about them, 100 people working with them. Like, I didn't know presentation design was such a big business. And then we have a friend, her name's Ashley Smithers, and she used to work with Nancy Duarte. And because she worked with her for a period of time, she learned all the tricks of the trade, developed rapport with prospects, and knew exactly what to deliver at a certain level. So sometimes I think, Kezia, it may be a step backwards for a little bit, but another way is to just find the person that is doing exactly what you want to do at the highest level and work with them in some capacity so you can just get a feel for the game. That could be another way, and you're going to learn a lot from that. So sometimes you got to go backwards before you go forward, okay? Because you're in a space I know nothing about. Kira knows something about, Will knows something about, but I don't know enough to help.
Yeah, for these startups, my advice is always to turn yourself into the product that your investors are buying, right? And so they're looking for certain variables. You know, it depends on what it is. For a fintech startup, it might be signups, things like that. And so as far as positioning, you might consider centering that, you know, your pitch deck or whatever, or, you know, even the persona that you're trying to target based on these variables that these investors are interested in order to get them to the next level. Because it's like, if you really consider who the consumer is, it really isn't the customers that they're signing up that's getting them to the next level. It's these investors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's just positioning in that direction.
Okay. All right. We're good? Okay. We can move on to something else. Is that all right? What else do we need to move on to? Where's the board here? No, it's over here. Okay. What should we talk about here? So there's predictable lead gen, scaling the team, maintaining quality, predictable sales, finding your market. I think we spent a lot of time working on Jason's thing in terms of his suggestion is finding the right market. If you can find the right market, it seems pretty clear that you can communicate the value. So if we're stuck not knowing how to communicate the value, I suspect it's because we're not clear about the market. And if the market that we found, for whatever reason, doesn't have money, it's not that they don't have money, they just don't have money for us and what we do, right? It's not like I'm going to find poor people. It doesn't, no, they just don't want to pay for what we have. And it's too hard, and it requires too much resources to educate the market so that they want to spend money. You can do that, and what happens is you'll spend all the money, and number two comes in right behind you and takes all the clients, and they spent none of it, right? You're doing all the road building, and then they get to ride on the road in the freeway. Okay. There's something about long-term relationships, business versus personal brand, which we will get to. So where do we need to focus our energy now? Will?
So I was able to finally phrase that question. And the question is how do I successfully close on projects that have to move through vague/huge chains of command with levels that I can't access, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So really big organizations have layers of management, and it's not always realistic that you're going to talk to the decision maker. Obviously, when we worked with a $13 billion company, I saw the CEO founder like once. I mean, when I say saw, like he went that way and went this way. It wasn't like we were in a meeting. But I worked with the CMO, and she had the ear of the CEO, and she made all the decisions. She had all the power anyways. So what we're trying to do is get as close as we can to the decision maker or the people who can influence the decision makers, because they're a proxy for them. Now, really large corporations with a lot of layers of middle management, it's quite difficult to get to, okay? So let's understand if we can't control that part, and that's just how procurement works, at which part are you entering it, and let's see if we can't just help you do what you do better.
So it's usually with a CMO, like
Yeah,
you said, or
okay.
like a director of communications, and they just can't get it across the line. And these corporate decision-making periods, they take such a long amount of time.
How long is that?
Oh my God, for the company that I have in mind, it took a whole year.
That's a really long time. That's too long. And how big is the project?
It's a $2 million project.
Okay, well, that's not that long then. I stand corrected. It was like $50, that's too long, right? So we're talking about a $2 million operation. That's the budget that you're talking about, right? And it's taking a year to close. That doesn't sound horrific. It's not great, but it's not horrific. And so you can imagine how many people have to get eyes on this to be able to approve a $2 million budget. I don't care how much money you have, $2 million is still a lot of money to throw away. Okay, so you're dealing with the CMO, okay? And something is getting gummed up, and it's just because of the size of the project. So this is where I have a kind of a more generic answer, but I think it might work, okay? So $2 million here. Anybody spent $2 million recently? You gotta talk, you did? You gotta talk to some people, right? Me, myself, and I. Like, do we want to spend all this money or not, right? Okay. So if you could just break the project down into smaller size pieces, eventually it becomes an easier thing to prove. Now there's things that I've learned, and you probably already know this, Will, because of the scale in which you're talking about, is at a certain level they have this thing called the discretionary budget. You guys know about this in corporations? It's a discretionary budget. It means anything below that number, they have authority to sign a check on. It might be helpful to find out what that number is and design something that they can approve so you can get the ball going. Abby?
We did that, and we put it on a Gantt chart, and then we used Zapier to tick everything off.
Oh, do you have a mic? You're so clear. What's going on? Somebody throw her the mic. Will, throw her the mic. Or
Oh, I'm really humbly.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So after boot camp, we realised that we needed to fix our systems to align with this kind of processing, because our budgets are very similar. And so what we did is we did a bit of recon, we found out the discretionary spend of every single person that was going to be involved in the program. And then we used Zapier to help us integrate a Gantt chart, which then triggered at every point of the project. This is when we need your approval. If their approval is not obtained, then there is a delay to the project, and that costs them money. So usually that helped us, trigger the payments and trigger things quite quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into it. I mean, I think generically or broadly, it's either called one of two things. We're going to call it chunking, and you understand chunking. You take a big piece and chunk it down into bite-sized pieces. It's also called scaffolding if you go the other way, from the bottom up. And they're basically the same concept. The way I look at scaffolding as a visual, it looks like that. And chunking looks like maybe like this, you know? You just take it, like, what's the smallest piece of the pie that we can eat? Okay? Big projects, big budgets, big decisions, too many people involved. So if Will knows his client really well, he could actually just call up Marketing Mary and say, hey, is there a number that you have discretionary approval over? Because it seems like whenever we work with clients like this, it always leads into a very long procurement process, and we get gummed up. And if this project is important to you, it's an urgent thing that you're looking for a solution for, I'm curious if you have a discretionary budget that you're allowed to spend without needing additional approval. And within the kind of companies that Will's thinking of, the answer is 100% yes. Whether they tell you or not is another story. But the fact that you can bring up certain language and speak very matter-of-factly will give them confidence, like, yeah, I can tell you these things. And I've only learned about it because people tell me. They'll say like, Chris, you put in the budget for 84,000. If you put in for 79, I can approve it tomorrow. Otherwise, I have to get approval. I'm like, is this a game? Is this a negotiation ploy? And then I made some phone calls and it's not. Okay? So it doesn't really matter. And there's things that you're going to want to understand here as a concept and then apply it as you see fit. Let's just say it's 80K. It depends on the size of the company. Bigger company, much bigger, smaller company, maybe they don't even know the concept. Let's say it's 80K. And Will's like, dude, 80K, that's really far away from 2 million. It's true. But he can do something for 80K. So what he has to do is design that very first step for 80K. It could be a discovery thing, it could be an audit, it could be all kinds of things where he could do profitably and be happy to do all day long. Okay? There is something called the sunk loss bias. You guys have heard the sunk loss bias. Is once they start spending money or working with you, even just talking to you, it's very hard to pull out. How do I know this? Because you've all been sold this way before. You notice like, and I teach this stuff and I still fall for it like every single day of my life, right? This is why when somebody's like, free sample, you're like, no. Because the free sample is the beginning of you entering into the sunk loss bias. You understand that? You get in, a little bit of my time, a little bit more time, and now I just can't get out.
And then you buy a ticket to the States.
Yeah. The frigging YouTube videos, they're killing you, right? 36 hours later, here we are. See what happens? So what you want to do is you want to just break it down to the smallest piece where they can make some commitment. And if you say $80,000 is really not that small, we'll chunk down the other way until you get to something that's really small. And the first thing could just be like content marketing. And then there's a downloadable. And then they're just making a little investment with you each and every time until they get to that point and they go past the point of no return. As soon as they start spending money with you, here's the problem. And you've been here before. If I start again with Bob, I've lost the 80K. I've lost it. And who knows if Bob's going to do anything that I want. So they just keep spending more and more. So people are less likely to remove a bad fit just because they don't want the fear of starting over is like horrific to them. So if you can just chunk down. This works with every single person here. So Kezia might want to sell a $25,000 naming, wordsmithing thing that she's going to do, but they're like, we don't want to spend that kind of money. Well, I know people like you say this to me all the time, so I've got this other program. Give that a shot, okay? So maybe you'll get there. And you guys know what like Gantt charts are? Abby's throwing around terms like Gantt chart, what the hell? Gantt is like waterfall, right? It is. So let me explain that to you. It kind of looks like this, but it just looks like the opposite direction. These are you can call them sprints or whatever, and this phase can't begin until this phase is approved. They're dependencies, right? Like I can't make you an animated film unless we have a script, a budget, casting, a team, etc. So each one depends on the next thing happening. It's how most projects are designed. And if you just remember, it's waterfall because it kind of looks like water falling down a rock face or something like that. In Silicon Valley, they do something called Scrum or sprints, and they collapse all these things into little cycles, but that's a whole different story. So for those of you that are having problems managing your clients, you just show them phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Any delay here equals money. Okay? Either I can't deliver on time or it's going to cost you more. And what you do is if you're able to show them how every single project that you do works, you have now developed a system that's predictable, not only in terms of like what you deliver, but you ease the whole friction behind buying and selling. Okay? When I ask entrepreneurs, what is it you want? They almost always say, we want to have a predictable, proven process. And if you can show people your predictable, proven process, selling becomes much, much easier. Okay? It's predictable because we've seen you do this over and over again. It's proven, and we have the results, the receipts, if you will. And the process, which is what we're going to share with you. So let's spend a second here as you're all designing your irresistible offer. What is your predictable, proven process? What is it? Do you know what it is, everybody? So when we design commercials, I almost with like a very high degree of certainty know exactly how every single commercial is going to be made. Every single time. And then what we do is we write about it and we share it on the website so no one's guessing, like, what's the next step? It's very, very clear. How many of you have a predictable, proven process right now? Not a ton, okay? Maybe you guys are close and you just need to write it up a little bit. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to just limit the number of steps to 5. 5 is the magic number. Why not 17? Too many steps, too complicated to understand. Why 3? It's too simple. I don't think you guys are really thinking it through. It's usually 5, okay? Whenever you want to teach something, it's 5. 5 steps, 5 skills. And if you start to look around, you'll start to see that the people who do this for a living almost always break things down to 5. Right? Design thinking, 5 steps. User-centric marketing, 5 parts. There's something about the magic number 5. So go ahead and let's spend a minute, everybody, okay? I'll give you 5 minutes to do this, to figure out your 5 steps. What are the 5 major steps? It'll force you to prioritize. You might have 17, but you'll start to prioritize towards the 5 most important steps in what it is that you do. Ian?
Is delivery the 5th step always, or can we go deliveries after the 5 steps?
I don't know.
Okay.
Depends on what you do. If you're stuck at 4, delivery is the 5th step. You have a 17, it ain't it. Okay?
Can you just walk us through your 5 steps when you
God dang it. Yes, I can help you figure out yours. Okay, let's go. We'll do it. Rodrigo, you need the mic. See, he's really good at speaking to the mic until it's his turn, right? Go ahead,
I'm here.
Rodrigo. What are the 5 steps?
First step would be a client meeting on onboarding, figuring out if we're the right fit.
Okay, just keep talking, so I don't want to write until I hear it.
So first step is meeting, figure out if they're qualified. After that, we'll
That's your onboarding process, a little bit different than your proven process to get them results.
so the proven process to
Like
get the
once they
results.
give you money, what happens?
We then start, I guess, doing the script
Okay?
and casting.
The scripting is different than casting.
Yes, it's script and then casting.
Okay, casting.
And then would be any storyboarding.
Okay.
So this is where I have conflict.
You're almost there. Just finish it.
Production,
Yeah. And then?
post-production.
That's pretty much it.
But that's where I pivoted my business to making the 5th step to distribution. Because when we talked about the results,
Yeah.
post-production is not what they want. But helping them actually get their video seen is what they're actually looking for.
Okay, you could collapse one of these things.
That's what I
so
was-
you could, in theory, take script and storyboards because they go together. It's your blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll start to see there's some pretty broadly applicable generic frameworks here. Okay? So your 5th one, your new 5th, right, would be distribution. Right?
Yep.
So what, in broader terms, everybody, what do you consider scripting and storyboarding? What could we call that as a broad term? Yeah, yes, what? Yeah, okay.
Pre-production,
I'm going to use the simplest terms that a 5th grader would understand. It's called a plan.
it's pretty good.
Isn't it? Why are you guys laughing? Did I say something funny? I got broccoli on my teeth? It's just a plan. What is the plan? We're going, no, I know. I just messing around with you. We have to have a plan. And this puts the client's mind at ease. Think about it. Those of you guys don't talk about this, like, how do you get this? When do I get to decide? We're going to come up with a plan. If you're an architect, it'd be called a blueprint. Or a floor plan or something. You would have a plan. What is the plan? So you can adjust this language to your industry such that everybody who works in your industry understands we have a plan. Okay, so the plan is usually broad. It's on every single thing. Okay? So casting is very specific to what you're doing. What would stage 2 look like? We have a plan, and then what do we do now? Right? But what do we call the next phase? Pre-production. Pre-production works. We have a plan. You guys like the plan? No, we're going to make the plan a little bit more clear. So if you think about it, it's just kind of like layers of an onion, and you're just pulling out the pieces, right? So the layer of the onion, and oftentimes when I talk to the client, I'd literally tell them it's an onion, and we're gonna peel it off layer at a time. The first couple of layers a little ugly, might hurt your eyes a little bit, but eventually we get to that, right? So when we do animation work, we'll tell them we're gonna do some style frames, really nasty looking storyboards. Oh, you like that? Then we'll do a choppy animatic, or sometimes a rip-o-matic. Do you guys know the difference between a rip-o-matic and an animatic? No, okay, those in production know. A rip-o-matic is like what it sounds. You steal all the shots. Like you go and capture that shot from Dune and that Pepsi commercial, and you just cut it together. It's not even like a cohesive look, right? You're just ripping stuff off until you block it out. That's all it is, right? It's just taking the slab of marble and just chunking out. I'm not sure there's a person, but it kind of looks humanoid. And we just peel back the layers until we get to the core. And the core will be like we're ready to go, right? So you can call it pre-production. We have a plan. It's going to be a 30-second spot. It's going to be in Miami. We're going to have a couple of people in it. It's a dialogue, comedy-driven thing. You guys like that plan? We like the plan. Now we want details to the plan. Go a little bit deeper so you have pre-production, right? What will be the next thing? What happens after pre-production?
Production.
It's like, who's buried in Grant's tomb? Charlie. Production. Okay? So now we've got it down to 3 main things. What happens after production, Drigo?
Post-production.
Yeah, we do post. Okay? Now, for those of you guys who don't understand production and post-production, like what the hell are they talking about? Production is what we call in live action, like when you actually show up on the set and you're shooting. It's usually, a day or 2 days, whatever. There's a whole crew. Most of the money that's usually spent right there in production. Not always. If you do a lot of visual effects, it'll be mostly in post. Post is animation, editing, color grading, visual effect, whatever. It's all that kind of sound, music, all that stuff is called post. After you're done with the shoot. And this model is really built around production studios because they define it around themselves, right? It's like before Christ and after Christ, right there. So post is after Christ. Now, the last thing that you're going to do is what?
Distribution, marketing.
Okay. This is where it gets really interesting, everybody. Can we agree that it's distribution or marketing? What do you want to call it then? Publishing? Okay, all right, but delivery doesn't add a lot of meaning to this. There's the place where I'm going to go with this, everybody. If we had to guess, if we had $10 and we had to assign a dollar value to each one of these things with a total budget of $10, what is the most valuable part? This is where it's going to hurt. This is where it gets real interesting. Okay, I want everybody to lock in one answer in their brain. Okay, everybody? Actually, write it in your notebook. Let's not cheat. Okay, where would you spend the bulk of the money? Okay, let's say we had $5 of the 10. Where would we put the $5 that matters the most to us if this is if we're buying? Just write it down. Okay, we'll do this. Okay, and Drigo, I want you to do this too.
Cool.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We have $5 we're going to allocate to the most important part of this, and we're going to take the other $5 and distribute it everywhere else. We have $10 total, 5 of 10. I'm trying to keep this simple. $5 is going to go to 1, and the other 5 is going to go to the remaining 4. So that means one of them will get $2, and the others will get $1 each. So now we have to make adult decisions, everybody. Okay? I want you to think about it, argue with yourself, like, shut up, stupid, I know what I'm doing. Figure it out, okay? Hold on, don't get there yet. And I'm almost certain I know what the answer is going to be. I do. I really do. I know what it's not going to be. That's what I meant. And this is when you're going to cry. Does everybody have the answer? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just need you to write a number down. Where will you spend 5 out of $10, okay? Everybody got one? Okay. Here's what we're going to do, guys. You ready? We're going to just show by raise of hands here, and you're going to see. And after you raise your hand, look around the room. Look around the room, okay? It's going to hurt. The plan. Who's going to spend all the money on the plan? I see 4 people, so we got 4 votes there for the plan. Pre-production. That's what I thought. Production. You only get to vote once, right? I just want to make sure. Okay, raise your hand. Raise your hand. 3, 7. 7? Yeah, it's 7 people. So this is 0. This is kind of interesting. Post. No. It depends on where your biases are. It really does. Okay? And then distribution and marketing. Everybody else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. Okay. I knew this is the part that's going to be like not here. And the numbers seem almost evident, except for some of you seem to argue for production. Chances are everybody who raised their hand for production works in production. I'm almost certain. Okay, all 7 people raise your hand who voted for production. Raise your hand. And don't freaking lie. Will, did you vote twice? Okay, everybody's in production, right? There should be 7 hands. It's perfect. Do you guys work in production? Yes. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Lower your hand if you don't work in production. It's gonna be 6 out of 7 of you. The rest of you are liars, that's all I'm gonna say. I thought we were gonna be honest with each other. No lunch for you guys tomorrow, okay? I'm telling you right now, it's almost all in the distribution or in the planning, okay? There's a guy, his name is Stan Shin. He wrote the value curve, and it's the smile curve. Production dies. And he mapped this across multiple industries. I think his name is Stan Shin, and we've done this before. If you look up this smile curve, it's gonna make you cry. For you, it's an upside down smile. Because almost all of the value is done in the thinking of it and in the marketing of it at the end. Very little in the middle. And how do you know this? Well, let's say you want to manufacture a chair. Where are you gonna make the chair? Let's be honest here. You're gonna make it in China. And are the Chinese getting rich making chairs? No, they're not. But the company who had the idea for the chair, the marketing part of it, makes all the money. A while ago, they tracked down of $100 or so from what it might cost to make an iPod. It's like 18 cents, 12 cents is made for the entire product. Some of the parts are made in Japan, which is 4 cents. And Apple, the marketer and the distributor of the product makes most of the money. That's why they're so rich. So in the planning, the idea, or you could call it branding, depending on the industry that you're in, the thinking of it, like liquid death. Liquid death, 100% example, it's almost all the plan. Maybe a little bit of distribution. Everything in the middle dies. Did the person who put the water in the can make any money? The person who gave them the water? Probably not. This is where it hurts a lot. Jason, I'm sorry.
I know, I'm at 0 right there.
You're in pre-production? I didn't even write this down. I did pre-doction. I didn't even spell it right. I didn't even give it like the correct spelling. And nobody even challenged me on it. I was like, who cares? That's dead anyways, right? Okay, watch this too. Where is AI going to eat your lunch? Listen, Kiro, shut up. You're going to kill everybody here. No, don't say that. Don't say that yet. Let's go for the easy answer first, okay? Where is AI going to replace you first? You already know. Production. You can type it in, it writes the whole script. Okay, hold on. So AI is going to eat you here. So all 7 of you are almost dead now. Think about it. AI will like text to video, Photoshop beta. You don't even have to put in words. It's crazy. Have you guys been using Photoshop beta? It is so freaking good. Oh my God, it's gotten me out of so many jams already, right? That's where AI is right there. And that's why all the artists are crying, because they just see themselves as production people, right? Is AI helping you with distribution?
A little bit.
How?
The algorithm knows.
Not you. It's helping someone else, but where is AI helping you or taking your distribution away from you? How is AI a threat in distribution for you?
Not really, but...
Not really. The answer is not really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Drigo,
yet.
you want to argue?
Yeah, I mean, right now doing Facebook ads for clients.
Yeah.
I mean, you might know there's a lot of new AI stuff happening with Facebook that they're like, all those different features that you needed in the past, they're just like, give us a couple of the people, and they're finding everyone for you. So I think eventually you could be like, find me the business owners, and
Okay.
they will put it out there for you.
Okay. How long has Facebook ads been around? How many years? 10? Minimum. How many of you know anything about Facebook ads? A little bit. 2 of you. Are we worried that they're gonna all of a sudden like start getting into like Facebook ads?
But they're bringing that barrier down for anyone to be able to start. I think there's a big barrier in the beginning.
I'll
for
ask you
people.
again. How many years have editing tools been around? Forever. How many of you opened up an editing tool? Very few. Just because it's easy for you don't mean it's easy for people.
True.
Okay? Copywriting's been around forever. You gonna write the copy yourself?
AI.
Probably not. I'm not sure. AI might. Who knows? Who knows if it's any good just yet, okay? So if it's in the production category, these 7 votes are heavily biased. I'm just telling you right now. It's because you're in love with your own sauce is what it is. So you want to put more of your efforts in planning and distribution. I got the idea. Now the robots do the rest, and then I'm going to deal with distribution. It's in the idea and the marketing distribution of it, because this should have gotten the most votes, which it did, because this is the only one we can tell was actually get you results. Jason's excellent at making what he makes. I know it. I've seen his work. He's very good. But if it don't make me $1, I don't care. That's the problem. So if you do something that's soft and fluffy and you can't measure it, and it doesn't move the baseline for your clients, it just doesn't matter. It becomes a pure aesthetic, almost a vanity play. And it could have been a flop.
So the Barbie movie, they've invested a lot into marketing, and that has translated into like their sales. It's breaking barriers. Yeah, and so I'm pretty sure that we're gonna start seeing like the Barbie movie in like college courses as a marketing theme in terms of what they did.
You know, you guys remember a movie named John Carter? They spent $1 gazillion on that movie, $1 gazillion in marketing. It didn't do jack. It's a huge flop. I think Buzz Lightyear was also the same thing. $1 gazillion making it, $1 gazillion marketing. It didn't. To the end of time, they're going to think the more money you spend on something, the better it's going to do, but actually it's not. And I'm not sure if Barbie's a good movie. Has anybody seen it? Is it a good movie?
Yeah, what's really strong about them is that they also put a lot in taking a risk in the planning and the production. So I think that Barbie was that magic sauce of like, they took a big risk. They hired a female, filmmaker,
Yeah.
a female team, and it really paid off, and it was the right time. So I feel like, yeah, that leads me into like, yes, distribution I think is what clients think is the most important, and in terms of the numbers it is. But the reason 7 of us are like production is because we know that also like, if your product isn't actually quality, then no amount of marketing, exactly like
Okay.
you're saying, Chris, is gonna.
I love where this is going, by the way. I love where this is going, okay? Hold on, everybody just calm down. Let her finish speaking, everybody. Just
No, I mean, that's it. And I know
Relax.
in reality, like, we see all the time things that aren't produced to a caliber
Okay.
we think that they should be, and they still succeed enough for the people investing in it to be happy. But
I may get a viral video out of this. We'll see. Let's see. No, everybody just relax. Everybody, when I say relax, just keep your hands down until we're done. You're going to have the mic for a while, okay?
okay.
What's your name again? I forgot your name already. Where are you on here? You're Karina?
Yeah.
Karina, the dreamer. Okay, here we go. You say quality, there's a relationship between quality and what? Results?
And the ability, yeah. The ability,
Let's just call it results.
Exactly, results.
Okay,
Yeah.
quality equals results. Let's just say. Now, I'm going to ask half the room to prove where this is true, and the other half to prove where it's not true. The thing about theorems like this, we only have to find one case where it's not true and the whole thing falls apart. Now, if you're a betting woman, would you bet that this is going to stand the test, the scientific test, or are you going to bet on the fact that we can poke so many holes through it it's going to look like Swiss cheese?
No.
Where would you bet?
I mean, I know.
No, answer the question. Where would you bet? Camera on her face. Lock in. Zoom. Yeah, we got it? Where will you bet?
Okay, I know better than to bet for what I want. I want to bet that quality.
Why would you bet
equals
against
results.
something you know is not going to be true? Why would you do that?
It's true. I can't actually.
You can't.
I can't.
You
but
wish it.
I wish it. In the same way that like all of us artists wish that we're not going to be out of a job.
Here's what I would
you
wish
know?
for. Yeah, here's what I wish for. World peace and hunger,
Yeah.
nuclear, what is that called? Disarmament. I wish the climate change and the plastics in the oceans would go away. You know what I mean? I wish for all these things, but it ain't gonna happen.
But you don't think there's still like a correlation? Like, you know, like, yeah, maybe not
Yeah,
all the time.
correlate. I say this to my children all the time. I'm gonna share a story with you, okay?
All right.
My boys have always wanted a dog, and they want a corgi. They love corgis, and because they watch YouTubers with corgis, and so on a road trip from LA to San Jose, my son's like, Dad, you should get a corgi. I'm like, why should I get a corgi, boy? Because you'll get 1 million subscribers. I'm like, really? He goes, every influencer I know has a corgi. They have 1 million subscribers. And so do you think every person who has a corgi has 1 million subscribers?
Yes.
And he tried, but then I'm like, so do you think if I were to search on YouTube right now, that every single person who has a corgi in their video has 1 million subscribers? He goes, oh. He starts backing down. I said, I'm going to teach you a new word today, boy. There's something called correlation and causal. He's like, what does that mean? Causal means A equals B. Correlation is sometimes A equals B, but not always. And we're not going to bet on sometimes. I'm not a gambler.
Okay.
That's the problem. It's okay? Why you say that's okay?
I mean, just because it's, yeah, you're.
You want it to be this because you're a person who sells quality. That's the problem. You're biased.
Yeah. And I think I value quality, and so. You know,
Well, I'm going to test you on that.
yeah,
You only care about quality in some things, not all things.
it's true.
So when someone wants to sell you a quality thing that you don't care about, you ain't buying. Because I don't want to make any judgments, but from the car you drove to everything that you've touched in your life, not everything you pay for the most expensive version of it, because we all make different decisions, because we all have different values. And unless you're filthy rich, even filthy rich people don't always spend the most on everything, okay? So this is just a correlation, and we know. And if we had to guess in terms of case studies where we can prove this to be true and case studies where this is absolutely not true, it would be so disproportionate. And it only took Kezia 2 seconds to disprove you. She's like tube science, okay? Because they get results. Are their marketing videos any good? They're terrible. They even tell me we're embarrassed to show you.
Damn.
Yeah, they said we're embarrassed to show you. And I'm like, I'm embarrassed to show you my profit and loss statement. You see the difference here? They care about the results.
Yeah.
And you know what they told me? We have Red cameras, we have RE cameras. You know what camera works? The iPhone. And you know what they do? Their production team insists on shooting with the Red Dragon 8K. And you know what they have to do? They have to add camera shake and degrade and add poor exposure to it. I'm like, what is the point then? Because somebody's like, quality. So they have to make these expensive cameras look like lower quality. Because what happens is, and this is a phenomenon in the social media age, the more polished it looks, the more we feel it's not real.
Interesting.
One take, poor exposure, a little camera shake, and then we think it's real. This is what filmmakers know. J.J. Abrams, when he directs a horror movie, you want to throw up because he's like, the camera is like shaking all the time, you know? And you notice also, like, I think it was Ally McBeal, when they started doing this, and they might have been one of the early pioneers to do this, when they would whip pan. Because they wanted you to feel like it was a newsroom real thing, like somebody's literally turning their head. In cinema, they would never do that, because it lets you know there's a camera person, right? The whole idea behind a movie is you're supposed to not remember you're watching a movie. The minute there's a weird edit or a weird color correction or a weird sound, Jason knows this, it pulls you out of the dreamlike trance that you're supposed to be in. But in TV, so they started experimenting with this, like, that makes it look real. It feels like I'm in the room. It feels like TMZ. That's why they do that. Psychologically, they understand how to trigger that in you, okay? So quality, not equal results.
But did you get a corgi?
No, he gave up. he gave up his argument, and he learned a lesson.
And you're a corgi.
And the lesson he learned is do not argue with Dad. I wish he learned that lesson. He still, to this day, tries to argue with me all the time. He's batting 0. And you know, do you guys know who Jesse Itzler is? Jesse Itzler founded a company called Zico Water. I think he's a billionaire. He also founded a jet something, a private jet company. What is it called? Yes, and he's also married to another billionaire, the lady who created Spanx. So the two billionaires were married to each other. Life is so fair, right? Like, what are we going to do with our billions? I don't know, right? Sarah, yes. So Jesse tells this really heartwarming, tear-jerking story about his father. He said his father is like a checkers champion, like the grandmaster of checkers. I didn't even know there are levels to this game. I didn't know. I thought checkers is such a simple game. And he goes, he's the unofficial New Jersey champion of checkers, right? And he says, from the time in which I could figure out checkers, he beat me every single time without mercy. He never let me win. And he goes, I beat him one time in my life. And he goes on and tells how he beat him, okay? And it's a terrible story because as he tells the story, the time he beat his father is because his father had dementia and was in a mental state of decline. And that's the only time he beat him. And he said, because he never let me win, I learned a lot of lessons in my life, right? So when he had dementia, I had no mercy on him either. I destroyed him. But it's a heartwarming story. There's a heartwarming story in here somewhere. And I felt so justified in my treatment of my boy. It's like, you will never win, ever. And it made Jesse who he is. And he's a super bright guy, obviously. Very successful man, okay? So that's the result with my son. Those things are not connected. Let's be sober when we make decisions. Romanticism is for like movies and poetry and for Valentine's cards, not for your business, because that doesn't pay the bills. You have to be sober when you make the business decision. Unfortunately, so many of us, the creative soul in us, like, please let it just be that, please, this one time. And then you get your heart broken.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm really curious then how you sell branding, because I know are you guys still doing blind, by the way?
No, we don't do blind. We haven't done blind since 2018.
Okay.
I've been client-free
Congrats.
for 5 years.
Congrats. Where are your
Thank
clients
you.
now?
Hi, everybody. My name is Chris. I've been client-free for 5 years. That's when you say, hi, Chris. You guys didn't get your cue, but okay. Okay, what are you going to say?
Well, I'm just curious then, because you're also teaching, we're in the business of design. And so do we just take the business we get and leave the rest, like leave the people, like how do you sell quality design if you don't believe the quality matters?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
You put a lot of words in my mouth, like quality doesn't matter. Make one argument at a time. Make sure you use my words.
I went to the extremes. You're right. We're in gray zone today.
I love quality.
Okay.
But I know quality is not always tied to results.
Okay.
Because there have been a lot of quality films that don't have good results. There have been a lot of crappy reality shows that have tremendous results. A whole new genre of films and TV shows have been created because, quality doesn't equal that. In fact, I would argue that the less money you have, the more innovative your solutions will be. I've seen some promos for TV that have swept all the awards, and they had like $10 to make it because they let their creativity shine, not their production shine. I also have this theory that first-time directors who score it big, their second and third movies suck ass. You can go down the list. The Wachowskis, Matrix, most amazing film. Part 2, not so good. Third, and it's just going downhill real fast. M. Night Shyamalan, Sixth Sense, amazing film. Unbreakable, not bad. Then it just falls down the crap tree really fast. Because you know why? They have power and they have money. They were much better just being scrappy. But it's also a very difficult thing to consistently produce a hit. So there's two factors in there. Because they don't understand their process. They clearly do not have a predictable, proven process. The Beatles did. The Rolling Stones did. The Weeknd does. They know how to make hit after hit. So this is just a fantasy, I believe. Okay? So let's go back to your challenge to me. And I'd love to answer it if you can challenge me the right way.
Like the question I just asked?
Yeah, if you want to challenge me.
Huh. What?
You want to phone a friend? Nero's going to help you? Yeah, I don't know her, bro. I don't know. We just met.
How would you sell result over quality?
Okay, this is really good. We're getting to the heart of it, okay? Yeah. This is a much better question. Look at Nero. He doesn't say 2 words, but he's like, how do you sell results, bro? Let's forget about that. Okay, results are really interesting because it depends on who you ask. So the question in your sales process is, what results matter to you? That's the only question that really matters. What results matter to you? Because it doesn't matter what I sell. It does not matter what I make. Dale Carnegie wrote, like he goes, I love strawberries and cream, but it doesn't matter what I love because fish care about worms. Like you can try to fish all day with strawberries and cream, you're not going to catch any fish because fish like worms and bugs. It's got nothing to do with you. So what results matter to you? What results are you trying to achieve that you've been unable to? In the past, what roadblocks or challenges have you run into? Yeah? Ellen, you want to say something?
Just thinking of the farm example you used, right? Like
Which example?
the farm design studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like with the, the ice cream
thing.
or whatever they sent
Yeah.
out. Like that's a very difficult result to measure, right? Like I'm just thinking when we're selling to clients, like sometimes you might not realize the result until significantly further down the line.
Wait, I hear one story I agree with, and then I hear a question that's not connected to the story.
The question.
What does the farm design have to do with results?
Well, because they did get a result, but in
For
a
themselves.
Yeah, I guess the question is how are we selling results to our clients? Or I guess maybe it's not. The question is what results matter to our clients.
Yes. What results are you selling? It's the only question that's relevant.
Okay.
What results are you selling? Now, I'll answer the whole farm thing, even though it's a non sequitur. Like, I don't know how A equals B there, okay?
Because the result was they got the clients they wanted from their efforts.
From a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what you need to know just about the farm, and I'll put that thing to bed. The die line is run by Andrew Gibbs. Who said Gibbs? You know your CPG stuff, huh? Andrew's an LA guy. Do you know Andrew?
Yeah, I met him when
Are you friends?
I know him.
Okay.
Not friends.
Not friends? Okay. You want to be friends with Andrew?
Sure.
Find out what organizations he serves on. Sit on the same board. It's, I think, the AIGA. Okay? Andrew, for a time, I'm not sure if it's still true, runs the world's #1 packaging resource. So if you're a manufacturer looking for great design, this is very important. You're going to be looking on the die line. Makes sense. So what did we learn from that? Go where the fish are. You have a fish who's very hungry, who is self-selected, right? Because mom and pops who don't care about the quality of their packaging do not go to the die line. They go down the door to Dan. They just don't know and they don't care enough. So all the discerning buyers who want to do excellent consumer packaging goods go to the die line to find out things that are good. Aaron got super lucky. How did he get so lucky? He hired a young woman from straight out of school, because she's probably half his age, and she's much smarter than he is when it comes to social media. He was lucky also because he didn't kill the idea, even though he didn't understand it. We have to understand the amount of luck he's had, but you can engineer that luck, right? So when some young person presents an idea that's so crazy challenging to you, say yes and not no. Because what you have to gain is going to outstrip what you have to lose. Because he's a monkey. He told me he doesn't even understand Behance. And she's the one who insisted we will post this here. He goes, whatever, just let her do it. Then they're lucky again that the work on Behance surfaces to the top that then catches an editor and had an interesting story and presentation. So his design had to be remarkable enough that somebody would see and talk about. So they feature that thing on the die line as a spec project, not even a real project there. Didn't even go anywhere. He got 0 results from that. And then the die line is the thing that catapults him to the next level. Because here's what he told me. It's hilarious. He goes, Chris, I don't have enough time to talk to all the people and talk to me about work. I'm like, boo-hoo. So sorry for you, right? I'm going to slap you, right? He said, here's how I got the leads. There was a call for bids that a bunch of companies went after. And they asked them, what would you do to solve this problem? And 3 of the 5 companies that were bidding on it referenced their work. So all they did was reverse image search that thing, and they trace it back to the die line. The die line traces it back to farm design. So when your competitors are using your work as a sample of what to do, clients get real smart. So what's the lesson there? The lesson there is you have to put out the work that's really easy to find that traces all back to you. Your SEO game should be fantastic. If he made it difficult to find himself on the die line, on Behance, back to his website, he would have lost that. They would have given up. Here's the problem where some of you may struggle with, photographers especially. Whenever you go on a photography site, do you know how hard it is to save an image? They use some kind of weird flash technology, I think, to lock the image. They're saying, please do not hire me. Please do not track this back to me. Because what I do as a director is I screen capture that. It loses all the data from that image, non-searchable, non-SEO, and later on I can't remember where I got it from. Why did they do that? Somewhere along the way, an idiot photographer told all his photography friends and her friends to do this thing. And they all seem to do that. Impossible to drag and save the image. They could not anticipate Pinterest and search engines, and they just still adhere to this. I promise you, go search some of the best photographers in the world. They have weird slideshows that you can't even find the image, and you're like, why would they do that to themselves? Your number one priority is to make sure everybody can steal your image. Put all the metadata in it, and make sure the web can find you once it's around. You see? So if he was an idiot, and he would have locked his images and made it super difficult to find, they wouldn't have found him. Yet people do this all day long because they would rather not worry, or they're just so protective of their work. They'll put it on Vimeo and lock the hell out of it. Vimeo is probably the worst search engine in the universe. I have videos on my own channel I cannot find. Literally, I'm not even exaggerating. I'm like, I thought we uploaded this. I can't even find it. YouTube, you don't even have to spell it correctly and you'll find it. Yet all the cinematographers and all the motion design firms, they post all the work on Vimeo. And then they're like, Chris, we can't get any work. I'm like, I don't know why, I just can't figure it out. Just can't figure it out, okay? So, what results matter? So you have to find something that can be measured, okay? It has to be something you can measure and quantify. Harvard Business Review, May-June issue, and I have it here somewhere, I'll pull it out of my bag. They said that there's been a classic divide between what's referred to as performance marketing, okay, versus brand building, okay? That most of the attention and the resources go here, right? Why is marketing so hot? Why is everybody trying to do marketing? Because there's an ROI. Holy cow, there's a direct response. ROI is very clear, okay? So if you want short-term revenue, which almost all CEOs are concerned about, you do performance marketing. What are some examples of performance marketing? Direct response, Google ads, Facebook ads, what else? There's more. Email, what? Price manipulation? No, that's not performance marketing. It's how do you, what? Sales? Yeah. Cold outreach. Pretty much everything you do. Funnels. Who said funnels? Funnels, 100%. You guys understand performance marketing? You put $1 in, you get $3 out. All day long. Very easy to sell. And they said brand building is where the world's most valuable companies spend their energy. This is about long-term value. There's a big, big difference. This is revenue, this is value, this is long-term, okay? So if you're starving, you're not thinking long-term value. But the world's most successful and valuable companies focus on brand building. Now here's the remarkable thing, everybody. Elon Musk became the world's richest person. Incredible. But if you look at the actual sales of Teslas, it's not very much. But they have more money because of the belief in their brand. This is a future-based speculation that they're of the future and everything is of the past. You know, before Elon bought Twitter, there was a rumor circling he could buy Mercedes-Benz, Daimler Chrysler. They've been in business for decades, making some of the best automobiles in the world. And according to the rumor thing that I read, Elon has so much discretionary income that he doesn't even need to get a board vote. Remember before we're talking about $100,000? He could spend a couple of $1 billion and not even seek approval from anybody. He could buy Mercedes-Benz. They do not make nearly as many cars or sell as many cars as Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, but he can buy them. It's because of brand building. He's done an excellent job. Forget about his politics and his craziness. Just focus on what he's done that's working, okay? So, Harvard Business Review, very left-brain thinkers here, they write this article in the May-June issue about why these two things have to work together. that performance marketing cannot come at the cost of long-term value brand building. This is an argument for everybody who's in the brand space, who's doing things that are a little fuzzy. But they also say that brand building typically drops down to two things: awareness or like engagement or something silly. We need to talk about brand building as something much more measurable and bring this group to this group because they have to work together, okay? We do know this. We do know this. If you spend all of your money and effort at performance marketing, eventually your brand will be worth nothing because this drives this away. We know that. Send me 10 emails, I'm unfollowing you. I'm now irritated. I'm not going to buy from you anymore. I used to like you, now I hate you. So we have to think about these two as they work together, okay? So we got to get out of the fuzzy metrics. We got to get something much more concrete. And they have, I think, 7 dimensions in which they can measure the value of brand building. Have you read the article? Okay, you have it. I have the article here. It wasn't even why I bought the issue. It was the article before the article I wanted to read. Unfortunately, the article I wanted to read was crap. But I got this piece out of it, okay? So if you want to sell quality, which is what you want to do, right? Is it Karina? Yeah, Karina. You have to sell status. You have to sell status. You will pay an unreasonable amount for me to do something that doesn't really matter because doing so would give you pleasure. Can you think of anything that you do where that's the case? Where you pay an unreasonable amount of money that's not logical? 100%. You fly business?
A few times. I'll like spend the extra money on the credit cards. You know, that give you that.
Oh, I see. Through points and all that stuff, you can do it. Yeah. Okay. So Karina will fly business class, even though it's silly, because if a flight, those of you guys that don't fly business class, a flight is like $3K. Coach would be how much?
Like 500.
Yeah, it's ridiculous like that. It's 6 times, right? And I struggle with this myself. And my wife and I were like, you know what? Let's fly like pedestrians or like, you know, the steerage class. Because we can spend $2,500 on our hotel. Or I need to buy a new Louis Vuitton bag. We start going through these arguments in our mind, right? And I found a great solution for this, and we'll talk about that in a second, okay? So how many people here struggle with the mental math here, like, I'm gonna pay $2,500 more to arrive at the exact same place at the exact same time? You struggle with this, right? Some of us are just gonna, coach, baby, give me coach. And some of us like, never again. Business class only. Champagne, dear. You know what I mean? The one time, the first time, not the first time, but one of the early times in which we flew business class, because I was speaking, and they couldn't pay me jack, so they will give you 2 business class tickets from LA to Hawaii. Okay, my wife had braces back then. And they're like, champagne? And she'll get one. She knows I don't drink, so she wants 2, right? And then she's sitting there like, cheers to the good life, babe. And she let out the biggest smile and just took her picture. And I'm just gonna use that every time she's mad at me. Remember that time I got you business class, babe? I did all the work, right? Okay, so most of us fit into this category. The solution is, and I only fly business class now. I know, I get someone else to pay for it. So I'm like free of the guilt. If I have to spend the money, I go buy the shoe or the bag.
Yeah. Well, the reality is too, like people who are buying business class usually are doing it with points, so they're not actually paying the $3,000. You know?
Yeah. I don't know how to work the point system. I'm either paying or somebody's paying. I'm not good at the point system. One day I will be good. I'm working on it, right? So my whole thing was I want to fly and travel the world. I want someone else to pay for business class. So now that's just part of the terms. They're not that happy about it. Now here's what I know. When you get to the next level, you fly first class and have to pay for your spouse. One day. First class. Once you fly that, you cannot go back. It's just too painful. Yeah. Okay? Hard to upgrade, impossible to downgrade. Okay? That's the argument there. So you will spend money for things that don't matter to anybody but to you. So if you want to sell quality stuff, you have to figure out what status do people want to buy, because it's actually one of the main motivations about why people buy. So how could you do that in your business?
How have I done that?
How can you?
I'm trying to do, okay, in terms of status, I've been
Yes.
focusing on results more than status.
No, you're not. You're focused on quality.
I want to be, and I like that. Yes, I
I'm
am.
gonna help you.
You're right. Okay.
No, I'm gonna help you. Forget about results.
Great. Forgotten.
Done. All right. Because I can help a lot of you here.
Okay.
If you truly understand why people buy, because they
Yeah.
buy because of status, what can you do to heighten the sense of status such that they'll forget about the results and just pay you for quality? Go ahead.
You know, the first thing that comes to mind is just relationships. Like, I live in Venice, and it's not my favorite part of living here, but it's very, like, you know, the people you know, very connection-driven. People want to be in kinship with the people that they want to be, like, associated with.
Okay, are you associated with a lot of people?
Uh,
Relative to what you sell?
Not actually, no, I could be smarter about that. I'm not gonna lie.
We should be a lot smarter.
Yes.
Let's go there. Okay.
Yeah.
Stay with what Karina is talking about. People buy relationships or they buy into relationships. So what could Karina do as an identity designer? Yeah?
Branding designer.
Branding
yeah.
designer?
Yeah.
Okay. So that she can continue to charge tens of thousands of dollars for what she does. What can she do? Go ahead, throw the mic behind you.
Make the client look good through your work.
How?
They take the credit for the work that you did.
How? Is it Danielle?
Yeah.
Danielle, how? Be specific.
Well,
Well, no. She's got the mic. Everybody just relax. Go ahead.
that is true. We do enter our clients' work for them into design awards, so they're credited if it does well.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you something. I haven't won 100 awards, but it feels like 100 awards. That strategy has not paid off that well for us. It hasn't. We've even paid for the awards, shipped it to our clients. They'll share like once, and then that's kind of the end of it. It's a good theory. Okay? Stay with what she's talking about. The way we want to do brainstorming is not enter new ideas until we've exhausted the old idea. And I think Karina's onto something. That's why I'm not letting her off the hook just yet. She's like, well, there's an association, right? And I said, are you associated with the people they want to be associated with? And her answer was, not yet. So what does she need to do? Go ahead, take the mic back and tell us the answer. It's pretty obvious. It's a Grant Stum kind of question.
Build some relationships.
What do you mean? Be specific.
I mean, like, ideally book work with the kinds of people that people want to be associated with in their brands.
Right? Like who?
Like startups. Do you specific names? Or like just brands?
Give me one.
Oh, I literally, I'm like brain freezing. I don't.
That's okay. We'll let it thaw out. Go ahead.
Okay.
Name one, anyone.
I feel like, no, I need help on this. I'm calling another friend. I truly am like, I don't know.
Ihor will help
I
you.
don't- Sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, Will, go ahead. What's one?
So like Nike, maybe, if you can land a big fish.
Or Lululemon,
Lululemon.
or any one of those brands, right? Go ahead. Ihor,
You
what
can
is-
target the decision maker and do it for free to make sure you get the name.
Yeah. So that's the tactic part, right?
Yeah.
So what she needs to do is just have a nice logo on your website.
Define the whales, find where they swim, and they try to feed them so that they are happy to give you the logo.
Okay, we understand this, okay? My friend, who's a fairly successful entrepreneur, he just told me if you go to the top of the mountain, work with a top company, all the other companies fall in line.
Oh yeah.
It just works like that. You go for the biggest dog, like the prison rule, punch the biggest dude or girl, and then everybody else shuts up.
Different take on status, but same. The best.
Are we still on the logo part? I don't want to change yet because I want to make sure it's super clear for everybody what to do. So Abby, if it's not, you got the mic, just wait 1 second, okay? So Karina, what you need to do is you got to go and get the big dog. And it don't matter what you got to do. If you have to buy it, buy it. Do you know what I mean when I say you have to buy it?
No.
You pay for it.
Pay to.
I'll pay you to build your site for you. I will pay you to redesign something.
Okay, got it.
Because the name, you want a name.
So I actually, on that note, like I started in websites, and I've done websites for like Afterpay, Chase Bank. They were microsites. They're not like portfolio pieces.
Fine.
And they have helped me, like for sure, establish credibility when people come to me. I got a startup out of that. Like, because
Are you trying to tell me you agree?
Yes, but what I'm saying is,
Just say
yes,
I agree.
I'm leading
Are you pulling
to,
a Kiro on me right now?
But what I'm leading to is that I've run into another issue then.
What is it?
I don't, do we have the, I wanna, it's, okay, so the issue
I
I've
bet
run
you it's a
into.
Dan question. I feel a Dan question coming on right now.
Is it?
You're going to pull a Dan. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know what it is.
No, well, you'll say it and we'll know.
Okay. I mean, this takes it into another area, so we don't need to go there. But what I'm running into now is like, it goes back to the lead gen where okay, so I got this startup. I think I need to then define that if I'm gonna be going into that niche, I need to then be setting my bigger fish. Because what's happening now is the clients that I need to figure out how to be landing bigger startups. The
Where you going with
scope
this?
of work is different. So I landed some big, website clients, but the scope of work I do now is entirely different. And so, yeah, this is a little bit vague. This is what I'm dealing with in my, I don't know.
Drigo, I know how to edit this video. You take Karina's voice and you layer it on top of itself. and then.
Yeah,
it'll be
I don't
really
have
cool.
a clear
I don't know what the hell you're saying. Just stay with me here, okay? All of you understand that we're social creatures and we're not that smart. We're all sheeple. We really are. If they're like, if you worked with Nike, you're way better than what we can do. We would just love to work with you. And here's the weird thing. This is where it gets into where I thought you were going to go with Dan, and you didn't, because I didn't know where you went with that. It was going to be, I thought she said, but I did it for Microsoft, not like a microsite, but not an identity thing. Yeah. And therefore, can I claim this because I'm in the moral gray right now? Then I would say, well, depends on how you want to handle that.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. Right now, I just list them as like people I've worked with on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like brands.
You just put their logo.
Yeah.
Just put their logo.
Okay.
And then somewhere on the site, you have to show it.
Yeah.
And then if they want to dig deeper, they can find out so you're not misrepresenting. You know, some people like, I received a package from Nike. I've worked for Nike now. I'm like, no, you haven't. That's dishonest. That's black. That's so far out of the gray, okay?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is build a logo quilt of high-profile people you work with, because that communicates status right away,
Great.
okay? That's just one strategy. You got it?
Yeah.
So if necessary, you buy the project. Do it for free.
Okay.
Do something. It doesn't even matter, because you are clear about why you're doing it, because I need your logo, okay? So I could legitimately say I've done work with them. You don't have to give them the details like I didn't do it for any money. I paid for it. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to ask you. Very few people are that direct, okay? Just don't tell on yourself. You know, they're like, how'd you do this? I did it for free. I paid them. What can you do to increase the perception of status that somebody gets the privilege of paying you more for less work and have joy doing it? What is it? So we've only got one thing written on the board. It's not that complicated, everybody. Reviews, testimonials. We know that. We just believe other people.
Case
We
studies?
outsource most of our thinking, you guys. We really do. What else?
Case studies?
Case studies? Yeah. But if you don't have case studies for famous companies, it might not matter. We want to go straight to the status part. Okay? What did you say? Here.
Make sure your potential clients know that it's very hard to work with you because you have a waiting list.
A waiting list.
Latest
one idea.
podcast,
Remember,
right?
1 or 2 words. Remember,
Yeah.
1 or 2 words. What's your
waiting
word?
list? Exclusivity. Make sure you have a limited offer that can expire.
Okay, we'll do 1 word at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exclusivity.
How do we do that?
Decrease supply. Sorry.
I'm like, I need a break. I'm like, his mouth did not move, and I'm like, decrease supply. I'm like, and he hides his mic. He put it on the table. Scott, you dirty bastard.
All right.
All right. Decrease supply.
Correct.
How will we know that? You're right.
How do we do that?
Yeah. How do we communicate that?
You communicate that online. You make sure it's on the website, like David C. Baker, right? Or you do it.
Wait. One idea at a time. Please don't add
what's the question?
All right. An application is pretty good.
Yeah, waiting list.
Okay. Oh, after she said, hold on, this guy.
I was just about to say that.
After she says waiting list, yeah, wait list.
No,
I've been waiting. Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, you didn't hear
because
that.
you said too many words. Slow
Right,
down.
yeah.
Slow down. Okay. Just don't anybody say anything. 1 at a time. There's an application. Okay. And then Ihor said wait list. Anybody else? Tim, throw on the mic. Good throw.
Basically, excluding the company, like if you don't make this much money, you can't work with me.
Yeah, that's in it's qualifications. You qualify the client, right? Remember, we already went through this. What's the number one question? You have capacity to produce more. No, you're not. We can't do anything. Okay, somebody else.
Increasing price.
Yes, price will do it. Price has a pretty heavy psychological factor on the perception of quality. It really does. Those are pretty good. So
being specific to what they need, like clarity in the message. No?
I love how Martha said this. She started strong and then she basically confidence
Clarity.
level to distance to Mike.
Clarity
There's
on
a
the
correlation, not a causal relationship. Sometimes people just forget.
Clarity on the message.
That's just too broad. What do you mean clarity in the message?
No, when they see it, they're like, fuck, that's for me.
Well, how would I know that? How could we objectively describe this to another human who would do this? Very difficult.
Yeah.
It's like what Will said, like a nice website, but I don't know.
Being clear on your ideal customer, but yeah.
Still doesn't matter.
Very broad.
No. Okay, search in your mind. Is it Candela? Where's her name? Yeah, Candela. Do you have something you want to contribute? You always bring in the fire. Throw her the mic. Scott. Boom.
I was not expecting that. I just keep thinking of the word scarcity, but I'm trying to think of how do you apply scarcity to a designer in an effective way.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is, but I know luxury and status demands scarcity because it requires more time.
Okay.
Like you just can't take that much, right?
Right. You already talked about it. Exclusivity, wait list equals scarcity. Right? He said it. Yeah.
Oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into tactics and how we do this. If you look at every luxury brand, they operate under false scarcity. Okay? They limit supply and they communicate that to you in 1,000 different ways. So the simple concept of it is they make it difficult to buy. It's really weird.
It's a Rolex example, isn't it?
Yes. So the simple concept is it difficult to buy? If it is, we want it more for some reason. And there's lots of things that we can do to make it difficult to buy. You have to be very confident to play this game. You have to be 100% committed that you want to sell quality and not results. Okay? After I finish this, we're going to burn this plan and go back to results. This is just for Karina, okay? You got it? Okay. Difficult to buy. Now, we know if we have one widget to sell, very difficult to buy. Only one person can have it. If we have 1,000 widgets, still relatively small, but that means 1,000 people can have it. So we have to just control the balance between supply and demand. When supply outstrips demand, you are entering into a difficult to buy stage. Okay? So the supply is less than the demand. That's all you have to do. That's a simple, big concept. Supply has to be less than demand. So there's clearly two things you can do. You can decrease supply and commit to it, and you have to work on increasing demand. That's called marketing, right? Let's attack the equation on both sides. This works for products and it works for services as well. Coaching, everything. It's the same concept. And then if you need to do a deeper dive on this, I need you to read the book Oversubscribe. And then I want you to listen to the interview podcast I did with Daniel Priestley, Oversubscribe. I explained this to a bunch of marketers, their head almost exploded. They're like, wow, or to business people. Very straightforward concept to understand, okay? And Ihor is using literally the language from the podcast interview with me right now, signal to market and the whole bit. He's paid very careful attention to this, okay? Which one do you want to work on first? You want to work on supply or demand? Demand. Okay. What can you do to increase demand for what it is that you do? Tell me some ideas. Who's got the mic? Yeah. No, they're going to pass it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely strengthening marketing, website.
Be super specific, one thing at a time.
First thing that I got to do is definitely update my website.
Will that increase demand?
No.
Everybody in the room is shaking their head right now.
Everybody's shaking no.
Yeah, they're not agreeing with that.
Okay.
Because for people to find your website, you're already in demand.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
if we think about it, just use the models you already know.
Yeah.
If there's a restaurant that has a lot of demand, but you don't know if the restaurant exists, it don't matter. So it's not that. What can you do first?
Work with a big company.
What?
Work with a big company.
Okay. Well, then we're going back to the other side, right? What we want to do is, what are tactics that we can use today to increase the demand or awareness for what it is what we do?
Marketing.
More specifically? What? How?
Content.
Content. Like on what?
Like,
It's too broad.
Let's do videos on Instagram.
Okay. So you're going to build a social following on IG.
Yeah.
And it only matters if the people you want to talk to are actually on IG.
Yeah.
This is very important, okay? So you're going to say IG, okay? So what you want to do is you want to grow a following, right? Because we're all sheeple. The larger the following you have on IG, just for some reason people think you're better. It's true. Can't argue it, right? It's very hard to argue that. And the proof is when you search for a video on YouTube and the one has more views, you're like, that must be a better video. Yeah. And almost it's always right. And on Amazon, I almost always just buy the one that has the most positive reviews. I don't even read the product description anymore because it turns out to be 9.5% of the time, 99.5% of the times it just works, okay? So we can get the reviews if you want, which we talked about on the last page. We can have the logo quilt. We need to just increase demand and awareness. And there's something that's good old-fashioned press, PR. Just get it, okay? You can get the awards if you want, okay? And now...
Speaking, like public speaking.
Yes, 100%. Now we're getting into the things you can actually do and control. Public speaking. And what's old school public speaking? You just write a book.
Yeah.
There's a ChatGPT, write a book in one sentence. It's probably not any good, but it's better than zero. What else can you do? Yeah, you can do old-fashioned media, like podcasts. 100%. You can run workshops. Okay, now all of these things kind of generally fit into this thing where if you can create value, you can educate and entertain, you'll start to build demand because more and more people will get to know you. You can also run old school ad campaigns if you wanted to. I heard this strategy at a marketing conference. What they did was they wanted the founders of Pinterest to read a guide on how to create high-performing things on Pinterest. That's all they wanted to do. So they found their emails, and they ran a campaign, and they were like, we don't care how long it runs. We just want them to see it and to feature this as a thing for other Pinterest users. So they targeted 2 email addresses. It was a campaign for 2 people, and they just ran it in perpetuity. It didn't cost them much because only targeting 2 people. Until they click on it, they're spending pennies. See how focused they are on the user and what they want to achieve? So you can run ads. There's nothing wrong with running ads. But the... Huh?
Spotify playlists. Like if you're a brand designer, create a playlist for brand design. Like why we design a brand doesn't...
Okay, that's a new one I haven't heard before. You can create a Spotify list.
Yeah.
You can create, this is like crazy, stupid, simple, and it just works, and I'm annoyed by it. You just create a top 10. And you include yourself as one. Probably not number 1, like number 7.
Okay.
It's really weird. I hate these bastards because they're not even good. They find 9 companies that are really good, and they sandwich themselves in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So then they get domain authority, because when you search like top ranking firms, they're in there as the #1 search result, and then this list. People like lists. They're called listicles. Make listicles. People like that kind of stuff.
That's
So-
reminding me of panels too. I have
And what?
I have a friend who runs panels with experts in her field, and that totally brings in business.
Well, so this gets into Mira Kotan's thing, the 3 Bs that she talks about. The 3 Bs. You know the 3 Bs?
No.
Oh, okay. It's build, borrow, or B. Okay, if you can be the expert, then be the expert, which you're not. So build it. You're going to acquire skills. You're going to go to workshops. You're going to read. You're going to consume, and you're going to grow. But the one that's pretty easy is you borrow the expertise because of association. You interview people. You host panels, right? And if you have a lot of money, you can also buy. It's the fourth B, but you didn't talk about that fourth B. You just buy the expertise. We just hired the world's most foremost thought leader in X. Marty Neumeyer sold his company, Neutron. And no, he didn't sell that. I'm sorry. He sold the ability to license his thought leadership to a branding firm. They just wanted to be able to share his articles and his writings from his book, because that's how they generated leads. So when you go to search for a Marty Neumeyer thing, it's a good chance you're going to land on one of their pages, and he just licensed his IP. Pretty smart of them and for him. You're not doing anything with it, and they get to use his expertise, and they just borrow it or they bought it. Not that hard, right? You can also, believe it or not, pay to speak on panels or at conferences. I don't do it, but you can do it. I know people who do. Because they're going to put themselves in front of buyers of their services. And then you activate the stage effect. You're on the stage giving a high quality presentation, and they're like, well, you're up there with that person, that person, that person. We didn't even know who you were until today. And so you can spend your money that way. This list can be very long. And I'm sure Ihor and others in this room can come up with some pretty amazing lists. So then all you need to do now, right, is you put an A and a B and a C and a D next to this, and then you just start working on A. The highest priority. That's it. Yeah. For me personally? No, because I'm doing a lot of them already. For you, think about what you would do. Which one would you do? Pick one.
I think either events or social. I think social first.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have reviews, I guess. Yeah, I would say social.
Just pick one.
I mean, social is, I think, like you were saying, important.
Nobody's debating you, just pick one.
All right. Okay, Chris. I would rather do press.
What? Social press.
Yes.
Which one do you want to do? Just pick one.
Okay, I start with social. That's my
Social.
final answer.
Number one answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Karina picks social. What platform?
Instagram. Or, yeah, probably Instagram. No?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay. Guys, I don't. This is why I'm here. I need y'all. Okay.
No, don't listen to them. Focus on me. Listen. You have commitment issues?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, you do. Okay. Are you also married?
No.
Okay. Not yet. It's
Not
okay.
yet.
It's all right. I was gonna connect. No, but he's dead. Okay. Social. Okay. Instagram?
Yes.
Okay. How many followers you got on Instagram?
Oh, I have commitment issues with Instagram too.
Just give me the answer to the question.
It's like 1,000.
How many?
Like 1,000.
11,000?
No, 1,000.
1,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't snicker anybody. How many followers do you think you need to get on Instagram before people start looking at you as an authority in this space?
I'd say like 10,000.
It's not 10,000, I'll tell you right now.
100,000 if you're really trying to do it.
100,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if you're in a niche.
No.
Okay.
No.
Chris is
I'm telling
trying to
you
get
right
me to
now.
100,000.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
I mean, come on. You guys want to argue with me? You got to be in
you're right.
100,000. Please.
You're right, you're right.
You got to be.
Uh-huh.
That's $1 million. That's $1 million, by the way. Yeah. Okay, hold on, Mo. Hold on. So you got 100x this. There's a threshold of credibility you got to get past.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain it's not 10,000. It might not be 100, but it's got to be more than 10. Here's what we're going to do, because we're all super smart. We're going to be strategic in picking the one that has the highest potential of success with the least amount of effort from us, that most logically, as far as we can see, is going to work. So the reason why I know, I could be wrong, she picked this one because she thought of all these, let's work on that one, and she's got one, so therefore I'm going to assume the other ones are not there. Logically deductive reasoning, Scott.
I think I was actually also just looking at like Martha. Yeah, okay.
Karina? Oh, Martha, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I think I also just think of Instagram as like a foundation that's necessary for the rest of them.
Here's what we're going to do. We need to think about the person we're selling to,
Yeah, yeah.
not where we want to be.
You're right.
These are two totally different things. I know, it's nice when I'm right, right?
Yeah.
Okay? Only focus on where they're going to be, okay? That's the most important thing. Once you figure out where they're going to be there. And there's a good chance they're on Instagram. I'm not saying they're not. They could be on Pinterest, they could be on Behance, they can be on lots of different things, right? Okay? Now, you know that thing that I told you about, like make yourself easy to find? We had these entrepreneurs who manage not high net worth people, ultra high net worth people. The people who have homes within their homes kind of thing. They found us, and they're Mexican entrepreneurs from Mexico City. They had to go down some crazy rabbit holes later, and they found us because they saw an image that they liked. We make it easy to find us, that's the thing. So when you have something good, title it well, put it everywhere you can put it, and then sit back and wait. It's a long game, okay? All right, so if you want to establish demand to be seen as the brand, not just a brand, to work with, you have to pick one and work on that. Okay, who wanted to pick another one? Okay, Ihor, it's just between the two of you now. It's like a game of tennis.
I would say teaching. Whatever teaching you do the teaching.
Teaching's not even on here, man.
Yeah, workshops then.
Okay, you want to run workshops?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, is there anything getting in your way?
In my way? Yeah.
What is getting in your way? Name one thing that's getting in your way of running a
I know
workshop.
too much, I don't know how to prioritize.
Okay, fair. Okay, he could do workshops. So everybody here, whether it's on this list or not, write down in your notebook what's the one thing you're going to do so that you can establish authority in your space and create demand for what it is that you do. This is something you have control over. For some of you, it would be to write posts on LinkedIn. I would recommend that. Write a post on LinkedIn, put an image up, and just keep doing this with some cadence that you can manage that doesn't feel like it's killing you, okay? And keep doing it. And when I mean keep doing it, don't write 35 articles and then publish 35 in a row, because you're not learning from every post. Write the post, look at the results. Write the post, look at the results, and make one small tweak. And before you know it, you should start to see your posts increase in whatever dimension you care about. Either the quality of the engagement, the number of people who share, or the amount of views it gets. Whatever matters to you, just work on that. Post, tweak, post, tweak. And the key to posting and building a social following is to not overinvest time into the creation of the thing. Do it at a cadence in which you can keep up with, that you get some joy from. If it kills you to do it, you will not do it. That's it. All right, we're good? All right. So how do we decrease supply? Okay. The way we decrease supply is we have to learn how many customers we can actually service well in a given period of time. Let's say a month. Okay, everybody already knows this number. How many customers can you service well in 1 month? What is that number, everybody? Everybody's gonna have a different number. And it depends on what you do. Some say like 0.5. Some people can say 3, whatever it is. Okay? How many customers can you work with in a given month? And you'll know that number. Or you can take it within a year. Maybe the year is easier. I can work with 10 clients a year. I can work with 100 clients a year. It doesn't matter. Okay? Everybody cool? Everybody clear?
If you want more content like this, check out our Business Bootcamp course designed to help you scale your business, handle objections, and charge more.